Hey, what's up, guys? Good morning. Let me just check quickly the sound in the phone, but I think it should all be alright. Hope you are doing well. Let me know in the comments how you doing. Good morning. Let me just check quickly the sound in the phone. Okay, great. Great, America. Good morning, my friends. I don't know why sometimes it feels like there is a delay. I don't know. Anyway, the sound is working, so let's start, right? I see the comments. Good morning, Riyad. Good morning, Adrian. I like that you are still consistently coming, guys, and hope you learning something. So let's start with the dollar index. Hello, bro, Luke. My team is getting inside, right? So let's start with the dollar index in here, right? What's happening? We have this big CLS range, right? Model number one has played in here. However, as I mentioned yesterday, I still think that this could be a case, right? When the price could go lower down into this level, right? Look how this monthly candle this month is actually it has opened, moved lower, moved higher, and it's exactly on the open right now. Look how ugly candle it is right now, right? So what could be next potential, right? Obviously this fair value gap and lower, right? Or maybe even lower from here if this pullback was big enough, right? Anyway, we do not want to predict future too much. We need to look for our probabilities, right? So what I have traded yesterday, we've been talking about this previous week's range, this range, manipulation, right? And we entered in here, right? Here is this daily range, which is actually the Friday's range, and I think we have a high chance that we will reach these highs, right? So maybe potentially in here, and maybe even this weekly high. But look, here is a 50% of this hour weekly range, right? In here, so let's go from the level to level, right? I already paid, I would say, I already gave too much money back to the markets by trying to maybe impress someone, by holding the big trades, but no, we should stick to the plan, right? Which is 50% in here, right? So it's actually the daily range, full range, and 50% of the week in here. So maybe some pullback happening in here, and then I do think that if the price will go lower down here from here this week, that would be from these highs, right? So our target most likely could be hit in here. Let's go to euro, right? Euro, same case, right? We've been actually trying last week, trying to trade the model number two of this range, right? Maybe it's starting to play out in here. Maybe it's just a pullback and maybe continuation higher, right? We don't need to know that, right? Obviously, it would be perfect to enter a trade in here and hold this whole range, right? But I'm still quite comfortable by trading just this previous week's range from this higher time frame key level, which is this daily key level, right? We can see in here we have this up candle, right, leaving this order block, right? Now, as we can see on the daily, right, on the daily it's actually not that clear, right, because this candle has closed above this one, right? But on the weekly it's very clear, right? We have the CLS candle, price manipulated, and is inside right now, and we are actually entering in this manipulation, right? On the lower time frame it would be perfectly seen in here, right, as this up candle, and the next one closing below, which is changing the order flow. Then you can go even lower time frame, right? You see this last up candle, not counting this one, right? Obviously from here it would be even more perfect, right? But I prefer to use the big candles, right? And it's actually in a confluence with this one. And yes, the best entry would be in here, but it was in my time at the 3 o'clock at night, right? So I basically missed it, and once the price closed inside this daily range and the weekly range, I simply entered in here with putting my stop loss down here, right? Now the price is moving lower, right? We can see it has reached 50% in here, and in here they are actually setting up the trap, right? Double bottom trap, look, right? nearly very close bottom side. It was a little bit tapped inside of it, right? But it's kind of giving a uh, idea of a strong support, right? Don't want to say to the retail, right? I don't like to use a retail because we are of course retail traders, but let's say let's inform traders. They will be trading this support and maybe the trend line break in here, right? So what's then gonna happen once it makes this pullback, right? And they will see a double bottom trend line break, maybe break over here, right? And then we clearly have this uh, another order block in here, right? So from here, most likely if the price retraces, we could go probably lower down to here below this uh, Friday's range. Was it Friday? Yeah, below this Friday's range low, right? So in my opinion, we still going lower on the euro. But today we probably gonna get some pullback. Be careful. I think tonight is the FOMC or something like that, if I see that right, or maybe at least someone is, yeah, FOMC minutes, right? So they're not gonna do a decisions, but they can say something significant, right? If you look at the market on this swing, where this low has been taken, right? And we measure this swing, the dealing range, our transition candle is here, right? This one. So potentially we could reach this because also these two lows, right, from this transition candle and this low is also the equal lows, right? So we have two equal lows where the price could go, right? Liquidity 1, liquidity 2, right? So potentially, definitely taking some profits off here. Maybe in extension we could reach this, right? However, right now the price is moving back, right? 30 pips, right, which is not so comfortable because we are giving back some profit, right? Here on the euro, right, is moving back, right? So you need to, if you want to be swing trader, you need to be able to survive potentially this, right? Okay. So what is this here, right? So that's a euro. And good morning, Simon. Here is a GBP, right? Same case on the weekly, beautiful play, right? We can see big up candle, right? Digging into the liquidity. Then the next one, right? Here is actually a key level. I wasn't able to. I don't know why I missed that before, right? Let's try to dissect and understand why this key level, right? Actually, look, these two lows, right, relatively equal, they've been broken out from here. Here is this last up candle, this last up candle, right, and breaking lower, right? So from here, we should measure a key level, right? Do I have it right? Yes. Right, now we extend it, we make it more visible, like this. Now we go back to our lower time frame, right? And you see we trading in this from this key level, right? So there could be some potential pullback which is happening in here after this weekly candle digging inside here, right? Then the next candle in here. Then if we go lower time frames, we can see again this last up candle, right, before, and then price, sorry, we should be on the 4 hours, right? So we have this last up candle, right? Then we waiting for the close below, which has happened in here, right? In this candle, once this candle closed below, then this became our order block, right? The level from where we should be trading from, right? Like this one, right? Maybe change the color a little bit. Right, so from here. Alright, so that's what I actually had also posted on the trading view in here. Right. So we had this up candle, right? Price closed inside. This is actually the 1 hour chart, right? But on the 4 hours, it was in that moment, right? And then we waiting retracement in here, stop loss could be here or here, right? That's really not that big difference, right? Entry in here, right? 50%, first target. Now we expect what? Pullback, and then maybe continuation lower, right? Into where? These two equal lows as a liquidity. This is a monthly order block, right? This is where I want to definitely, good morning, Byron. This is where I definitely want to get out from the trade side. And if you are maybe asking what I have on myself, this is actually because I'm going for the bike ride, so I have the protection gear on myself already. Right, so that's for the GBP. Let's go back to the charts, right? So again, we're getting a pullback right now, but I think that above these highs, right, still not moving the stop loss, doing anything, still keeping my stop above here, right? It still should be safe until we reach these two levels, right? Which will also be, as you can see, this is weekly range, right? And if we change the color of this 50%, so we can see it much better, right? In here also will be a 50% of this weekly range, right? Which is in the fact a 50% in here, which is actually a model 1 target, right? So we are actually right now playing a whole daily CLS range in here, nested in the weekly CLS, right? If we measure this swing, let's go 4 hours, right? If we measure this swing from the lows that has been taken and rejected in here, right? So from here, we're measuring the low to the highs, our dealing range, and our transition candle, which take us from the discounted premium, is here, right? So this could be also a potential target, right? So you have few potential targets, but still have in your mind that this is a no, I haven't taken any partials yet, my friend. So here is a high of that monthly order block, right? So it could protect the price from going lower, but I think most likely this is very possible, right? Let's look at another one. USD right? We completely missed it in here. I mean, I missed it because it was also happening during the night, right? 4 o'clock morning in here. So this is done, right? We're trading from this order block, right? Again, they're leaving this relatively equal highs, right? I mean, this one is lower, this one is a little bit higher, this one is a little bit lower, but still, if you look at it from the perspective, this is kind of a, equal highs, right, in here. So I do think that if that what I'm expecting, what's playing on the dollar index and the other pairs is gonna play out, we will most likely go higher on the USD JPY also, right? But remember, in the 50% of this range, right, you don't do nothing, right? If you didn't catch it in here, then skip it, right? Then you have this key level in here, and if everything starts to play out badly for the dollar index, you will get a setup in here, right? So you out on the JPY, not trying to catch anything in here, right? And here is the USD CAD, right? I have actually entered in here without a pullback, right? I'm holding this trade. Let me show you, where is it, right? So I'm holding this trade on the USD CAD, which is this one, right? Entered in here, and I got my stop on the bottom. I got my stop on the bottom. All right, it's not showing in on this side. So I got basically my stop USD CAD, my stop on 1365, right? So which is a little bit lower in here, which we don't see right now, and I'm targeting I'm targeting these highs right in here. I do think that we will go a little bit higher, but I want to exit here, right? So just a little bit move. What can happen in here right now as we have traded back inside this higher time frame range, right? You can see we could most likely get a pullback retest, and this old lows could work as a support, right? So if you don't have a trade and you believe, I believe also that these highs will be reached, right? So if we get a pullback down here before these highs has been taken, then I do think that we will see this, right? So there will be a possibility for a trade, in my opinion, right? So that means that I would need to survive all this money giving back, pullback, right, and then trading higher, right? Also, I think that we might could reach these highs in here, right? But again, going from the level to the level, right, which gives me a more confidence in here, right? So that's for the USD CAD, right? Now let's look some crypto pairs. Here is a USDT dominance, right? If you remember from our private group, I mentioned that I do think that this will drop lower down here, right? Which will be a uptrend on the Bitcoin up to 120K or something like that, right? Now is the question, right? What's gonna happen now? It can make still something like this, right? So what does it mean on the Bitcoin? Basically, Bitcoin is quite on the highs, right? And I'm not interested to trade in here, right? If we look to the lower time frames, we actually can see here is this daily, right? So if you remember, as we've been talking about the liquidity F, as this candle, this one, the last, which has created this high, right? As this one is closing above this one, right? The liquidity is still here, right? This one has closed below, but look what is it? It is basically a CLS range, right? So what we had? We had a CLS range, manipulation, right? Key level. Could this be key level? Right? This last down candle before breaking out through these highs, right? Yes, it could, right? So this could be our key level in here, right? Let's go, because it's daily, we need to go 1 hour right now, right? And you're looking for the manipulation, right? Price closing above these down candles in here, right? Because you don't trade it here, you don't, here was the low created, right? Low manipulated in here, right? Closing above in here. Model number 1 playing, right? Now maybe model number 2 right now could play from here, right? So possibly could be tradable from here, right? Let's look to daily, what I actually highlighted in here, because I don't like when the price makes these wicks. Mostly when you see such a wicks, price mostly dig at least into the 50% of these wicks, because people trading these wicks and they have them obviously as a bullish pattern, and they are pattern, right? But if there is some kind of like a consolidation, not really sharp move, what I would do in here, I would really look for that because if we drop a fib in here from this low, right, to this high, right, here we have 61.8, right, and then let's look a little bit lower time frame, right, then here we would have this key level, right, which was retested with this wick, right, and then from this wick, if we measure the half, right, I would like to really enter a little bit lower, right, if I would do that, right? So something like this on the Bitcoin, I think is possible, but also I have in my mind that this boy could still make that pullback before it goes lower, right? So having this in my mind also, right? So we kind of start to play out, right? Look, this is what we've been looking for in the previous streams. So let's check it from the daily, right? And we can see that we had this candle, right? We've been looking for here was some weekly candle probably, if I'm right. We have this weekly candle, and also right now actually, right, we can update. We need to update, right? Like this, right? Let's go to 4 hours, right? And price tapped into this order block, right? Below. In my opinion, this is not deep enough, right? However, in the strong trends, this manipulation doesn't have to be deep enough, right? Maybe these consecutive down candles, right, as the order block, and price could go higher. It could, right? But where's the first target? 50% in here, right? So what would you trade? You would trade this? You would not, right? You would trade this. It looks better, right? But you need to trade this after this, and then this happened, right? Then you trade it, right? So in here, you're waiting now, right? You're waiting. Good morning, Alex. Solana, nothing really interesting, right? I said that I would be interested a little bit lower. However, it went higher, right? Consolidating right now, right? Again, remember, we have the range. This is obviously not a serious range. In the range, we're not playing anything inside of the 50%, right? Here is the Doge. Also, same thing, right? Ranging, boring, right? Where you would be interested here, right? Once you get it below some lows, right? Because what? Because this was beautiful trap, right? Definitely some traders entered this trend line breakout. Now they are not happy that they did it, right? Anyway, good morning, Aslak, my friend. Here is the link. Same thing, right? Still waiting. That sometimes it's a tricky, because they make this expansion and they're doing this correction. You know where you want to trade, you know where your setup in the market context has to occur, but they trying you, right? They trying to catch you, right? To think, all right, this is the moment, and then boom, right? Down again, right? So you're waiting. The setup will occur in the right context of the market, which is for us in here, or it goes up without us, right? We want just a high probability, which will be here where I have shown you, right? Ethereum, that's doing completely nothing, right? Range in here, right? What else we have? Aave, right? Going higher without pullbacks, right? So what we do, we still waiting, right? We need to be updating. Sorry, why do I forget this still thing? Right, price moved high. We have this candle in here, right? Price moved higher, right? So right now, maybe we getting chance for a short, right? Because look, this is model number 1, right? In the 50%. It also has taken a liquidity in here, right? Look, this one, right? We have a quite big candle, right? CS candle, right? And we could probably see a potential for the pullback, right? So let's go 4 hours, right? Which is happening in here, right? Right now, we're getting this, right? Price closing below this manipulation candle, right? And price closing below here, right? And potentially we could be targeting a pullback into the 50%, right? That's what possible in the counter trend trades, right? So something like this, I would say that is possible, right? This, right? Obviously this is also possible, but in the counter trend, this is enough, right? It's 50%. This one I quite like. Maybe I will open the trade. And now we have the H bar, right? So here it is. Here is where we are. We have, let's check the weekly again, if we can update something, right? We had this range, price closed inside, right? Then this candle for me doesn't look like a CLS range, right? It's really not that too wide, right? And it has closed inside. But if you remember, even if we have a CLS range and then the next candle dipping below it and closing inside, but still it's a bearish candle, then most likely another dip below is going to happen, right? Which is happening right now in here. Let's go daily, right? And still not on the key level, right? Which would be here for us, right? So maybe probably a little bit more lower would be interesting for me, right? I'm going to add, I actually have the alarm here, right? So see, we got the alarm be waiting, right? Doing nothing, no reason to be excited. As you can see, that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boring days, right? So what's probably could be happening, right? If it is in the tight range, could be accumulation. Once we manipulate, we want to be looking for our setup and trade this, right? What else we have? This is all the cryptos which I'm watching. I'm actually not watching much more, right? Because this is enough for me. Right now I have a trades on these our pairs on the forex, right? Waiting on the cryptos. I'm fine with that, right? This is obviously the Bitcoin high time frame. This is the Tesla, which had yesterday amazing movement, right? This is a fucking. It looks like nothing, but it was a 7% day, right? Powerful, right? I do think that Tesla is going 1000 something, right? Maybe during this year, right? So I think there's still potential for something like 3x, 4x, right? I'm trading that in my brokerage account in the bank, not having it on the leverage. What else is your micro strategy, right? Also thinking it's going higher. However, I think that this is more a long-term play because the seller is still selling the stocks, right? And Alex, it's difficult for me to identify CLS range. How? What is this? Give me a second. What's the question? It's difficult for me to identify CLS range. How can I do that? I'm using only the previous one, right? The CLS range has a few specifics, right? It's not just any candle. It has to be also the timed candle, right? So definitely the weekly ranges, right? The big ones are CLS ranges, right? You see, if you look at this chart, right? This is CLS range, right? This is CLS range, right? Everything in here wasn't that convenient in here, right, to trade. But also it can be a if you look on the daily, right, the mostly which are playing is a Monday range and the Friday range, right? Look at the Monday range and Friday range, right? And same on the monthly, has to be a really big candles, right? Big candles digging into the liquidity, right? Like this one in here, right? This was a CLS range in here, right? So that's how I would describe that, right? And they occurring in the premium discount, right? Edges, right? Here we have also another one, right? You see how that played in here, right? Here was actually the another one, right? You see they happening here is also the dip. As they mostly happening on the reversals, right? But we use them to understand where it's going to occur, right? But Alex, are you in our group or not? I think you are in our group, right? What what Alex is this? Because I think it's very well explained in the whole academy, right? Here we have the one also, right? Here's the one, right? So you see, it's high volatility candle, right? High volatility candle above the highs, right? Digging to the liquidity levels, below the lows, right? Below the lows, right? You will find a lot of them. Just try to go through the charts like this and try to highlight as many as possible. Look which are these ones, right? Look, this one also, right? What candle is this? Monday, right? What candle is this? Monday, right? Again, here was the Monday range. You had the inside playing, right? And then manipulation down here, right? Very often, I'm in the Discord, but I'm new. Yeah, no problem, you will get it, right? It's obviously the system looks easy, and it is actually easy but complex, right? In here, for example, you can check here, check the current situation of on the markets, right? Look, here we have this situation on the euro. Check on the weekly, right? It's clean. We have the quite big candle, quite big relative candle, right? Digging above, and then the manipulation is taking above also, right? So you need to practice your eyes, right? There is not like an easy way to say this is it, right? There's in the markets there's nothing definitive. You need your sense to do that and practice that, right? And journal it, and that's how you really master it, right? I'm using the ways how I'm explaining it, but in the end, what matters the most is how you gonna treat it, how you gonna back test it and train your eyes to feel it, right? No worries, you will get it, you will understand it. What else? If anyone has some questions, you can ask guys right now. I will answer that. But if not, I think I would close it in here, because I think pretty much what's going on in the markets right now looks clear to me, and we will see. Right? So let me know. Okay, my friends. So yeah, I'm gonna close it for today in here. I think 30 minutes is actually enough, right? To not to be too much boring and talking bullshits, right? At the set. Um, hi Marcos. I said I'm expecting the price drop slow, right? But obviously everything is just a probability game, right? So keep your risk under the control, and have in your mind that there's gonna be this FOMC speech tonight. Bye bye, my friends.